My name is NonStopAntonio, and today we're going to be talking about Superman and Lois, Season 3, Episode 9. The show took a break for a week, and it's finally back. I honestly thought it would come back with a more epic of an episode. However, there were still some very good moments we got to talk about. So let's talk into my review and breakdown of Superman and Lois, Episode 9. Welcome to NonStopAntonio, where I talk about everything nerdy. I love Marvel, DC, and anime, and if you do too, I hope you enjoy this video. So like I said, it wasn't this huge epic episode, however, it had some great character moments during it. It feels like this season is definitely focused more on the characters themselves, growing them, having them go through hardships, and having them really deal with real life things, rather than having more Superman action in it, which is the one thing I wish we had more of, was Superman being Superman, but getting a little bit of him in each episode is still nice. It also just really shows the humanity in these characters as well, which I really like how they're doing it. But like everything that had to do with Lois and her surgery was done so freaking well, like always. I feel like Lois's storyline is really taking the forefront of this season, and they're doing a great job with it. I really like how they focus on her, worried about her surgery, how her husband's gonna see her afterwards, and really showing what it's like for a woman to go through breast cancer and possibly losing her breasts when it comes to the surgery. And as someone who's obviously never experienced that or can really talk about that on a more deep level, it is interesting to see it portrayed on screen, and I am hoping they're doing a good job of it. I have had family members who have had breast cancer, but they've never had it to this extent, at least to the extent that I can remember as of my age, because a lot of them had it when I was a child. But I really like how they focused on Lois, worried about what Clark was going to think of her, how he might not see her the same way because she will be less feminine. That's how they described it in the show. And I really like how it took Lana to really make her see the situation in light, because Clark is not that type of guy. He's gonna love Lois for everything. He doesn't see just her body, he sees her personality, her image, her drive, everything about her that just makes up Lois. And it was just overall a great moment between characters. And with that, this episode also really showed a lot of great dynamics between the families. You had John and Natalie in their conflict, because John's trying to protect his daughter at all costs because of what happened with Bruno Mannheim. But you have Natalie, who goes behind his back to see Mateo, and thinks that Mateo should be allowed to see his mother, relating back to the fact that both John and Natalie lost their mother/wife to the evil Superman of their Earth. They watched her die on TV. They couldn't say goodbye, saying that Mateo should be able to say goodbye to his mother, should see her before she dies, rather than her possibly dying in a cell at the DOD. I really like how Natalie's connecting their situation, because it's a very dark path for them to be going down, because how would they feel if they weren't able to see their mom and they had the chance to do it? Like, they didn't have it on their Earth, but what if they did? And just to take that away from them is not right. And I like how Natalie's seeing it in a different perspective. And on the opposite side of things, I like how Mateo and Bruno get in a little bit of an argument too, because Mateo sees his father now as a criminal. He sees that he's been doing all this criminal stuff, possibly killing people. Bruno tries to remind him that he's doing everything for him and his mother and the babe. Because in the end, I think Mateo's gonna end up coming back around, because being a criminal is probably gonna save his mother's life. And he's probably gonna accept that side of his parents, because in the end, he's gonna get to keep his mother. Then we have Lois and Clark, and I really like how they were using flashbacks to show how she's changed and how her chemo and everything has been affecting her, and her surgery is gonna change what she looks like, because she has this red dress from the awards she won. She wants to get rid of it because she's never gonna be able to like look the same in it again. And I love how her and Clark have a really good moment at the end of the episode where they go up into the sky and do like a little sky dance with Clark in a tuxedo and her in the dress, to really show how much he loves her and that nothing's gonna change and they'll get through it together. There's a really good moment between characters. I love Lois and Clark, and I hope when we do get him in the DCU, we get like a very good Lois and Clark relationship like this. Also, even though the Superman action was quick in this, I thought it was a really good moment in showing what John is willing to do to protect his family. But we'll dive more into that in the breakdown, so let's jump into it, because this episode was primarily focused on John Irons as well as Bruno Mannheim, other than the cancer story, of course. And I like how in this, we have John kidding Natalie with just a shit ton of stuff to make sure she's protected from Bruno Mannheim. And it's a good thing she did that, because after John told Bruno he wasn't allowed to see his wife unless he brought back the XK, Bizarro, and Superman's blood to the DOD, Bruno Mannheim went after John and Natalie to make sure that he would do what they said. However, that did not work well for them, because John kicked their asses with his like electric staff, or whatever we want to call it, which just got everyone looking like, oh, what is John doing on the side of the street beating up them thugs? Which in the end of the episode, John Henry Irons gave away his identity to everyone, so now they know who he is. But before I get into the Henry Miller stuff, let's talk about how it got to that point. Because you have two different characters in this. You have Clark and you have John, where Clark is more willing to see the humanity in his enemies. He sees good in them. And after everything that's been going on with Lois, he sees Bruno as a caring husband so he can relate to him, and he wants to give him the benefit of the doubt and try to approach him in like more of a respectable manner. Where you have John, who just got attacked and is like, screw this, I'm going after him, I'm gonna try to take him down because he just tried to get me and my daughter. But also at the same time, holding this man's wife hostage and using her as leverage so that he will do what he wants. However, that's not going to work for someone like Bruno because he is this mob boss. He doesn't give a shit. He's not going to back down. He's going to go for the fight rather than giving the DOD what they want. And I really like when John goes after Bruno, Superman was like, this wasn't me, because he could hear him coming. And I really like how that shows Clark isn't trying to hide anything. He's like, it wasn't me. I was trying to reach out to you respectively and talk man to man. And I like how that happened because that ended up leading into Henry Miller being sent after John, which almost literally kills John. He whoops John's ass because John couldn't get his armor on, and goddamn, that was an interesting fight because any other person probably would have been killed with one shot, and John was able to stand back up after that. Even with Superman coming in to help, Clark was not able to do a lot. He still got his ass whooped. He got launched, which was shocking. I'm assuming that the blood from him got put into Henry Miller. That's what made him so freaking strong. What I don't understand, though, is when John was able to get his hammer, how did he kill him? Because he kills him, but I don't know how he does that. It's maybe because his physiology is still human and not Kryptonian. He just has the strength. I still am confused how he was able to kill him so easily with the hammer. They also get the hammer is kinetic energy, so it's just like the Force knocked his brain loose and killed him, which is pretty dark, showing what John is willing to do to protect his family. And I like how he said there's not another way, and Superman's like, there is always another way, showing the two different sides. Superman is willing to save his villains, but John will kill if he has to. During this fight too, it kind of felt like they were teasing John's metal skin from the comics, because Henry was like, you're nothing without the suit, which makes me wonder if they're gonna make like either a new suit or his metal skin that's always grafted to him, so that if he does get in a fight like this, he's ready to go rather than having to call it to help him. So very interesting to see what happens next, because it is definitely setting John up for a dark path for the rest of the season, and for probably something pretty dark to happen with him. Now let's talk about that ending to the episode, because it had some interesting stuff in itself. And I also have a theory with it, because when Bruno takes Mateo to his lab and shows him everything that he's been doing, he shows him Bizarro and says that he found a cure within Bizarro. However, what I'm thinking is going down here is that he might have found a cure. It might work, but I feel like it's going to be changing Peya. Bizarro is from another Earth, which means he has different physiology than everyone else. And he's also a Kryptonian. So I think what's going to happen here is that there's a possibility after injecting pain into this, it might cure her, save her life, but it might also turn her into a Bizarro version of herself or a more monstrous character, because she won't be the same after it. Part of me feels like they are definitely setting up some kind of Bizarro version of herself being born, and I'm intrigued. I'm also still waiting for Bizarro to like fully wake up and do something, because I thought Bizarro was going to be controlled. We might not be there yet. I still feel like he might get controlled by Lex Luthor, and they've been teasing him this entire freaking season, but we have not seen him just yet, and there's only a handful of episodes left. Also, with Mateo going to the lab, he's going to see how much his father is willing to do to save his mother and also protect Hobbs Bay. So I'm intrigued to see where Mateo's going to go, because Mateo seems like a generally good kid, but I think after everything that's going on here, he might turn to the dark side and join his father's criminal organization. That way he can save his mother, and he can see that the bad stuff is still causing some good. So he might take the ladder and be like, okay, well, if we do these bad things, you know, we're still helping people in the long run, so it's not that bad, really. So I think something along those lines is going to happen with him. What do you think is going to happen with Mateo in the end? Do you think he's going to be a bad guy, or do you think he's going to turn on his father and be a good person? Do you think John Henry Irons is going to get his metal skin or turn down a really dark path? Let me know down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, hit the subscribe button, helps out the channel a lot. The Flash is over tomorrow, or I guess tonight as this video is coming out. So make sure you stay tuned for my breakdown for that one. And if you want to see any of my other ones, I do have Doom Patrol and Titans as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.